I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is I got a grouse. The bad news is I'm freaking completely lost. If you ever hunted enough, you've been turned around. Thankfully, I've never had to go overnight, but I've come very close more than a few times, more than I'm willing to admit. Now, the first piece of advice I want to give you guys is when you first get lost, don't stop trying to find your way out. Because if I did that, many times I would have spent the night out. Give it 2 or 3 hours. See if you can't find your way out. This is the Lost Hunter. I want to teach you guys what I would do if I was lost in the woods. Let's see if we can't figure out where we are and get out of here. If we can't, we'll cross that when we need to. You're probably gonna make it. Best thing to do, don't get dehydrated. Don't burn too many calories. Walk slow. Think, listen, maybe you'll hear something that'll help you orient yourself. Maybe you'll find a landmark. I hope a coyote didn't pee right there. Tastes fresh enough, it's not yellow. Well, the sun's on our right shoulder. If we keep it on our right shoulder, we should be heading in a direction. If it's cloudy, that's a problem. That's when your heavy foot is gonna make you wanna walk around in a circle. I didn't believe it until I tried it 5 times in a row walking through a swamp, and I continuously made my way back exactly where I started, despite me trying to travel as far and as thick through the swamp as I could possibly manage. My heavy foot steered me in a counterclockwise direction every single time. Wouldn't have believed it unless I tried it. It's true, try it for yourself. Blindfold yourself. Get a friend to help, go out in the field and try to walk in a straight line. You'll walk around in a freaking donut. I'm taking some comfort in the fact that I'm fully loaded. I got 10 shots, plus I got another 50 in my pocket. It's a 22 long rifle. It's good for small game. I'm not gonna get any big game out of it, but I don't need any big game. I've already got lunch at least. I've got a water bottle, Canteen. I got a little bit of water. It's a steel canister, which means I can boil more if I can find it. There's a little bit of snow on the ground, as you can see. I can lick that, that's all good. So I'm not worried about the immediate present. I'm worried about the future, but that's not to panic. We've got this covered. Keeping that sun over here off my right shoulder at all times. I'm trying to find the path of least resistance. I also believe that there's a swamp over here on my right hand side, which is also going to help me orient. And it seems like I'm traveling downhill. Now when I came here, I really felt like I was traveling uphill, so that's going to give me some clues. You can see just how freaking thick it is in here. I didn't mention that I also have some survival tools with me, which I carry all the time. I usually have a lighter. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just forget. But I usually have a couple kicking around. I've also got a saw, which always comes in handy for firewood and building structures. You can tell there's an opening over here, but I've already tried to go in that direction and end up into a swamp over my knees. To add to this, I've learned that I've got a hole in my boot, my left boot, and every time I step in water, it fills up. And the last thing I want to have is wet feet. Wet feet will compound any problems. A little bit of clearing here. It's actually because there's a walnut tree. The black walnut looks like this here. These are a little bit long on the tooth. They can smell really, really strong. Actually, traditionally, they've been used to dye things. So Native Americans would collect them and they could dye clothing and all sorts of things. If it gets on your hands, it'll dye. Actually, if you crush this up and dump it into a creek, you can actually temporarily or permanently, I'm not sure, check into that. But you can get rid of some fish that way. It's simple, we crush these up, remove the skins, wash them, and dry them and eat them. However, it would take about a kilogram or so of those to make up the daily calories I would need to survive. So this is not a viable food option. The better food option, like I said, collect these and I'll go off maybe 100 yards, 200 yards, depending on how much distance I make today, drop them down on the ground and see if a new squirrel doesn't come in. Because a squirrel over here probably has his fill, but if I bring it to a new area, a squirrel that doesn't want to travel as far as here will smell these immediately because they're super strong, like I said, come in and collect them. So in other words, I might set up a bait site. When I collect these, regardless, because they're a valuable tool. If the school doesn't come in, I can eat them. I smell something. The mother lode. I found myself a freaking apple tree. That's a freaking awesome sign. There's an apple right here. It's a ground apple. It's got lots of dirt in it. I don't know if I would eat a stray like that or not. Lots of wild apples out in the woods, you'd be surprised. The other issue I'm facing here is that these apples, well, the ground around here is probably fairly contaminated with animal waste. There's all sorts of animals that come in here and they're crapping all over the place. And so a lot of this mud here is probably fecal matter, to be honest. And then the chew marks, of course, is basically like French kissing a squirrel. Now, if you wouldn't French kiss the squirrel, you probably wouldn't eat an apple to which a squirrel munched on and didn't complete, because there's probably some saliva on there. There's also probably some coyote here, and coyotes carry deadly diseases. Well, we got some options anyway. I love options. We could eat them raw. They're probably going to be very sweet, actually. I found had apples like this before that have gone through a freeze cycle. They come out like apple pie. They're kind of mashy on the inside, but the sweetness comes out. You know, if you leave a banana long enough, it turns into banana bread because it gets so sweet. That's the same thing here with these apples. But this could be used as bait. So regardless, I'm going to collect them. I'm starting to have more of a buffet than a survival challenge here, which of course is the idea behind surthrival. Somebody tried to invent the name survival and thriving at the same time. That's what we do on the channel, isn't it? We don't want to be these goons out there in the woods that are starving. We want to make it. This stuff's freaking ridiculously thick. This happens with remote forests that don't get touched by fire, and they don't really get managed. They end up giant fire hazards. Get through here. Oh, come on. I don't want to get messed up in the eyeball. That would be bad news. You gotta watch when you walk through this thick stuff that you don't get a twig in the eye. It can really set you back. Talk about the forest fire hazards, and I'm not gonna preach to you about managing your forest and all that business, but those are places that are ravaged by fire. I can imagine they look all like this beforehand. Like it's just miles and miles of this. It's probably gonna continue like this for 300 or so yards. At least in any direction. I've already gone 300, 400 yards this way. The sun is getting low in the sky, and that means, well, that means we're gonna have to make a decision here. I don't know. I'm gonna have to sit down. I'm gonna have to think, because this decision will affect the next few hours and this whole evening as far as whether I make it. And I know the temperatures are gonna get cold. I know shelter is necessary. It's a clear sky right now, but that could change any second. We could have snow, we could have rain, or we could have freezing rain, which is even worse. Let me sort out what I have as far as what I can do as far as shelter goes. You know, because we're in order, right? Food, shelter, water. No, we're doing it backwards. Of course we're doing it backwards because we're trying to survive. We got food, swamp water. We can get swamp water, so that's covered. I got some left to drink. Shelter. You're supposed to do it in reverse, but that's only if you are trying to survive. We're trying to thrive here. Get this Honda Orange off because it's making me hot right now and I don't want to sweat anymore. All right, guys. First thing you should do, I don't know, maybe it's the sixth. I don't know, anymore. Maybe the sixth thing you should do, guys, is check your inventory, because you got to make sure you're lost first. Now we're sure we're lost. We're not getting out of this today. So now we're making a shelter. So now we're doing inventory. We're going to figure out if we can make a fire, which incidentally I haven't checked yet. I checked my pant pocket, and sure enough, my wife took my lighter out, which is normally in this pocket here, which she always gets mad at me because I put it in the laundry and then she takes it out, and when she takes it out of the laundry, she doesn't put it back in the pocket, so it's not always there. Sometimes I put it back in, sometimes I forget, and then other times I remember I have some backup stuff in my camera gear or my camera bag or my backpack bag, and sometimes they're not there. I haven't checked that. We'll get to that later. We'll figure it out some way or other. So we got our black walnuts. Of course, we got spice. It's always in the bag. Why is it always in the bag? Because you never know when you're gonna make yourself a wild meal. Got a canteen. I like this canteen. It was given to me by online buddy, Jared Fenwick. It's got my name on there just so make sure that I know it's mine. And that's a good canteen because it can boil water. It's full right now. I haven't drunken anything. I'm not drunk, that's for sure. I should be drunk for doing these challenges, but I'm not. I got myself some paracord. Not very much paracord, not enough to do any damage on the shelter, so that's not going to be of much use. Got a pair of gloves. I always have work gloves with me because my hands are very sensitive. Not that sensitive. You can call me whatever you want. I've grown accustomed to that, but you know, my hands are sensitive. I'm a sensitive guy. I don't know. I'm getting off traffic. Off traffic. Yeah, that's what's happening. We get hungry. Did I mention that? Of course I'm getting hungry. That's why I'm getting off traffic. And then we got pockets full of apples. Lots of apples. And I've got a little pocket knife. So I kind of picked out two potential locations in this area here. The first one is using this wall here, but I feel like you can tell down here it's all wet. The other side up here is not as wet, but it's still wet. I don't want to be laying in water. That would be not fun. Same problem on this side. It's wet. It's low lying. We're in the swamp, right? Ideally, you wouldn't be in the swamp. So this is the other spot I kind of mapped out in my head. Ouch! That hurts. The hands are sensitive. I told you. There's lots of branches here, so I have to remove all the branches. But this is the typical A-frame structure that you want. But on this, in this facsimile of a shelter, I have to make two walls. I have to make a wall on the back side and a wall on the front side. See down in there in that little dark spot? That's going to be where I'm going to put my body for the night. Right now, all you need to know is that I got a lot of work to do to cut all these branches out. So I'm going to set the camera on tripod and then get to work. I'm going to clear all this out. This is the part I really enjoy doing, shelter building. Well, eating. Eating is what I really like to do, but we got to make a shelter first. Then we got to make a fire, and then we got to eat. Let's get going. Let's get some food. No, let's get a shelter. Shelter first. Welcome to my humble abode. The sun is beautiful and warm. I wish I had my sunglasses. All right, enough goofing around. So here's my hovel. I'm going to put my head up here on the high side, and I've got some good moss up here already, which is nice. And there's just a couple of roots in here, which I don't want. So if I can remove them, now is the time. At the risk of damaging my saw, I'm not going to damage my back. So I did a little bit of a miscalculation too. I don't know if you can hear that sloshing around in there. There's a little bit of water here. So I'm going to have to make a pretty nice base in order to stay dry. But this is the basic structure. So now it's pretty simple to make the walls, because this is going to act as the ridge part. And even if I cover the back, I'm going to be golden, because I can make a fire out front here, and then that'll collect some of the heat in here. As long as it doesn't waft in here and smoke me out, I'll be good. So next step is to get some uprights. I'm going to start at the back, and then if I have enough energy, I'll work away at the front. So looking pretty good. I got to show you what I'm going to cover this with, but first I want to make the back and get that taken care of. So let's get back to work. These last couple of ones are kind of painful to put up because they're actually really dry firewood. But that's all I got, and hopefully I can find some firewood for firewood rather than for sheltering. I'm just measuring how long I am by my wingspan. I don't have to should lay down in here to figure out how tall I am. I'm this tall. As you can see, it's pretty naked, and the wind blows right through it. So it's not really a shelter, is it? Over on this side, same kind of business. We got that typical lean-to design, which is what we're going after. Now we got to fill this in. The same thing with the bottom here. We gotta get ourselves off the ground a little bit. Now I'm not gonna make a raised bed or anything like that, because ain't nobody got time for that. That's luxurious bushcrafting. This is survival. It's a step down from bushcraft. It's a step up from survival. It's right in that sweet spot where you get things done, but you don't overdo it. You get a meal because you got to eat. You got a shelter because you got to shelter. I mean survive. I mean not die or live. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So that's going to have to do. Okay, so let's come grab the secret weapon. The secret weapon. And this is going to be, well, it's going to be just about as much work as the other thing. But it's all we got. Like I say, we got no spruce. Cedar's junk. We can't do a skeleton shelter. We're gonna turn into a skeleton. So let's go for a little walk and I'll show you what I have in mind. Lots and lots and lots and lots of dead grass. That's why, this is basically why I picked this spot here, is because of the dead grass. I got miles of it. So I can make a grass structure. So all I have to do now is collect probably a house worth of grass. Should be easy enough, right? Just a house worth of grass. I'm gonna use a knife for this, and I'm gonna kind of cut it and bundle it, and then we can hoof it. Not like you're thinking, well, unless you're a criminal, you don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I hoop it. How do I know the difference? Well, I don't, clearly. I've never hooped a thing in my life. All right, let's get to work. Have a look. Have a look, see what you guys think. Oh, you guys are too close to my face hole. That's better. So, obviously this isn't like 100% waterproofing for 100% forever. But if it snows, it's going to be good. If it rains, it's going to be good for a little bit, and then it's going to get wet. But grass like this has a huge capacity to suck up moisture without giving it up. Eventually, yes, it's going to give it up. But that would just be a matter of topping it up again, adding some more. So I have not made a lot of space here for a body. I don't want this structure to be big. I just want it to be comfortable. And looking at this now, I don't think I'm going to cover the front, primarily because I have enough rims tuck up here and stay dry. And I don't want to get this anywhere near the fire at all, because that would be a flipping disaster, not only for me, but for the forest. As you guys have seen around here, it's all blowdowns. If this catches on fire and torches up, we could lose a whole forest. We're gonna get found that way, but that's not how we want to be found, as the guy who set the forest on fire. We got the makings of a shelter. I wouldn't say it's complete personally. I mean, there's a couple gaps and holes at the back. Those can be remedied. We want to eyeball the distance that I want the fire to be from the structure itself. I'm fortunate enough because it's actually pretty damp right here. It's almost too damp, so that's gonna work to my advantage. I got some stuff in my face. I always got some stuff in my face. That's how I came up with the name Woodbeard, because there was some wood in my beard one time. I wonder how many things on my channel I did incorrectly. Well, you guys will let me know. I'm sure you'll let me know about this structure too. Maybe it's a piece of junk, I don't know. Maybe it's awesome. Maybe it's like all you need. Maybe that's all you need. Maybe it's not overbuilt. Maybe it's not underbuilt. Maybe it's just built properly for the circumstances. I mean, I can keep hammering this, burn calories and make it a mansion, but is that too much or is that enough? Well, if we're gonna make a fire in a swamp, we've got to make sure we take the swamp out of the fire. And that's what we're going to be doing here. I want to get a nice solid base, call it a coal catcher, because if it doesn't, if the coals don't hit the ground, then they can't go out, and that's what we want. We want to build up a coal base, because that's best for cooking, it's best for heating, and it's best for calorie consumption. Preservation. It does consume some calories at the start, but it saves calories in the long run. So there we go. We got a nice little base here. I'm probably still gonna make a big fire because that's what I do. Make a big fire, let it die down. All the branches I trimmed down here, part of the shelter, I kept here because they're all super bone dry. So we can fill the cracks in with these as well. But this is going to be used for our tinder, and it's all right here. So there's a little bit of method to the madness. Well, there's always method to the madness. Just sometimes it's not a good method. But this was a good method. I haven't checked on the fire situation yet, so I don't really know 100% if I can just get one banged off with a lighter or not. But can always do one friction fire. It's been a while since I've done a friction fire, but it's good to keep those skills alive and well. That's a decent base. We'll still need to make a little twig bundle to set that aside so that we can put it right on top of our fire and get that thing going. I just heard a squirrel go by. I actually have 2 lighters. That one works, and that one works. There's a story behind this one. This is Lucky 13. It used to be at a convenience store in Canada, Ontario. Very popular when I was a kid. It went out of business, but the lighter still works. I found this in an old snowsuit, my dad's old snowsuit that I borrowed a few times. I don't know if it was his or mine. Probably mine. I messed around with fire when I was a kid all the time. I shouldn't have, but I did. We got a grass bundle. This isn't really, well, it's more like something just to hold on to the whole business. But got some cedar shavings here. This is cedar bark right off the tree. Scrape her off, you're good to go. We're gonna put that inside the grass bundle. The grass is super dry, it's gonna catch on fire, but the cedar itself will smolder, and that's what we want. We want to hold that piece of coal, that coal bundle that we make through the friction fire. We're gonna get going a little bit slow at first. We got some smoke. You should have a smoke within a minute. If you don't, you're doing it wrong. So we got our smoke, and what we're doing right now is we're not actually making a fire, we're actually just making coals at the bottom. Not coals, but dust. And what we're gonna do later on is we're gonna ignite it, which is where the work comes in. I really shouldn't be talking while I'm doing this because I'm liable to screw up. Whew. And it's important to breathe while you're doing this. It's not a lot of work, but it's enough work. For most people who don't understand how this works, it's a ton of work, but it's really not. Okay, now that we got a little bit of a coal bed going, we gotta ignite this thing. So now it's giver time. You want to go for a whole minute if you can. Till you got nothing left. Okay. All right, there's a bit of a coal there. That's it not being flat has caused me all kinds of problems because the coal's been rolling around here, and so has the dust. So what I got to do now is actually pile that dust up on top of that little ember. And it's not going to put it out, it's going to feed it. It needs, that's the fuel, that dust. So you can see the ember's going good now. We don't want to disturb this too badly. And I actually, before I blow this into a fire, I have to move you guys over to the fire. So you see the ember there? Okay, we're just gonna put it down in the cedar, and that'll be fine down there because that's more fuel for it. You guys can see it down there. I don't know if you can anymore, but I just put it down here. Okay, so it's in the nest now. Now, a lot of people accuse me of not doing this authentically, because I got so many things to do before this coal goes out. So we're gonna fire the GoPro up here, and got a little bit of birch bark here. Amber's chilling out right there. Okay, did I hit record? I don't think so. How's that? Yeah, okay, record. Okay, so I'll put the birch bark in my pocket here, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this guy for a ride. I gotta bring the main camera, which is you guys right in here now, with me. So I'm gonna make it, put it in a nest here, like so. I want the Amber to be touching everything. Okay, got the little bit of birch bark here, and we're gonna go for a walk. You're gonna come with me. Here we go. So that thing's chilling out in there right now. It should be fine, as long as it doesn't fall out. If it falls out, we're done. We're using a lighter. But just want to show you how it's done. Okay, so we got to set you guys up here. You guys good there? Oh, it's kind of crooked. The sun's kind of on my eyes, but this is real, guys. This is as real as it gets. Okay, so hopefully that fire's still going in there. Man, I wish that sun wasn't straight there, but hey, that's what we're doing with. Whew, okay, so let's check, see, it's in there, it's disturbed, it's falling around. We'll try our best here. I think I would have had it if I hadn't moved, but we'll give it a go anyway. The more smoke, the more we can blow. Blow along with me. One more. No, not one more. She went. Okay, now let's get this fire transferred to the main. And we're gonna, oh, I should have made this better. I want the small branches down here to go on. And then the bigger ones. Phew. We got fire! Oh yeah! Yes! Now we get into the fun part of survival. We get to eat meat. I'm getting low on water here, so I'm gonna have to do something about that soon. I'm gonna visit the creek anyway, because I gotta get doing something with those apples. I'm playing with the apples. Gotta play with those walnuts too. I just need a break. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of effort. I have a lot of respect for primitive people. People would have done this stuff every day, day in, day out, no break. Well, I shouldn't say no break. They probably would have had a break in the winter. At least agriculturalists. Hunter-gatherers? Nope. That would have been all year long. That's why they died when they were 25. You ever wondered why you could have kids when you're 15 or 11? That's why. The lifespan of primitive people was pretty short. If disease didn't get you, famine did. Not exhaustion or the elements. I mean, deer, they live freaking 5 years if they're lucky. Most of them 2, 3. That's about it. It's tough life out there, man. You look at some of those rough days, the weather's not great, and you're like, that animal's outside, and it doesn't come in to get warmed up. It's just out there all the time. Man, having done these survival challenges give me a great amount of respect for our modern life and our primitive people at the same time. So I've purposely threw some big chunks of wood on there because I want to build up, and I want those big sticks to burn, and they'll burn for a lot longer than the small sticks will. But I got to reserve a small sticks. I got to reserve a big sticks. This is a nice big log here. You can see it goes all the way across. I can cut this up next to camp whenever I feel like it. So I got options now. I got choices. Choices are good. But I think the main idea right now would be to get some of that food prepped up and ready to go. I'm probably not going to cook the grouse right now, but I'll get it ready to cook, put it that way. It won't spoil right now, but it does need a little bit of prep before dark. I don't have a flashlight, so anything that happens after dark is happening by firelight. So I got to keep that in mind. I wasn't intending to be out here. It's a survival challenge, man. And I do actually want to see if I get some nighttime squirrel activity come through here. See if I can't get myself one to eat to add to the spoils. Well, boys, we got our grouse still chilling out. We got our apples still full of animal fecal matter. And we got our black walnuts that have seen better days. That's the selection that the woods provided for us today. So that's what we're going to make do with. So the plan, you say, what's the plan? Well, the plan is to get the vast majority of the animal matter off these apples before we do anything with them. I picked the best ones, the best of the best. Ones with intact skins, no puncture wounds or very few, because that's going to ensure our health and safety. So that almost looks like a store-bought apple. So the walnuts, we gotta get the husk off. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. You probably have. You've probably seen them around. You probably just completely ignored them as if they're of use to nobody. But they actually taste not all that bad. So we're gonna get the husk off them, and then we're gonna rinse off a lot of the distasteful outer shell, as much as we can anyway. Oh man, is that water ever freaking cold. Brutally cold. And now you can see my hands are starting to look nice and brown. That's where that dye comes into play, which I mentioned earlier. So for the grouse, it's a little bit of a mess being in my pouch all day and getting banged around. I'm gonna wash this up. We might get some rocks and tenderize it. I think that would be a good idea. And then, or maybe we can just throw it on a stick and be done with it. We got a pretty simple but elegant solution to cooking a whole grouse on a fire. All it is a split stick, and I've removed the bark. I don't know why you need to remove the bark. People say you should remove the bark because there's bacteria on it. I'm gonna cook it to snot anyway. To be honest, I'd rather have a little bit of smoky flavor. So all I know is that you should use a fresh stick. Don't use a dry stick, because otherwise your stick's gonna catch on fire. I'm gonna slow cook this as best I can. It's not always gonna be perfect, but it's something I just don't want to sit here and tend to. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, this has just been threaded on, and then the friction from this stick wanting to open back up again is just holding the whole thing on there. Perfect. I talk about simple and elegant solutions. That's going to cook the apple, caramelize the sugar, and get rid of all of the freaking poop that animals might have left on it, making it perfectly healthy to eat. Simple, elegant solutions. The only thing we have left is our walnuts. The walnuts we're going to need a rock, so I'm going to have to search around here. I'll find a couple rocks, wash them up in the creek, and just got rid of the rest of the mud. Put those walnuts on there and made a little firebox. And I can't believe I did this. I always do this. I freaking forgot to put spices on the stupid chicken. Chicken? Partridge. Grouse. Not partridge. I got in trouble for calling it a partridge. Even though that's what we do up north. We call it partridge. Wood elbow. And grab that at Wooded Beardsman walnut.com/shop. Hopefully it's not too late to make it sticky. I want it to stick. I did this with the stupid venison jerky too. I waited too long, and then it wasn't slimy enough to stick onto the meat. This is kind of halfway in between. This stuff smells amazing. Give these apples a little rotate. Applesauce. We're gonna have ourselves some freaking applesauce. I'm excited. Now the question is, do I have time for a hunt? I do. But I don't want to neglect all the other camp chores because I don't have anybody else here to do them for me. So the question is, if I go hunt, I got to make sure I get back in time to make sure there's enough firewood around. I mean, really, there's enough firewood around. I'm probably just gonna, I don't know, clear night. Probably gonna be a moon. Try to get more food. Play it safe here. I mean, got enough food, got enough firewood, sort of. I don't know. And I didn't really fortify my shelter enough as I wanted to. I should probably do that. I should probably get at least 1 or 2 more bundles. If I sop through that, I'm gonna be miserable. So let's do that, and then we'll think about what we should do next. I think that stuff's okay to cook like that, but you know, as soon as you leave food unattended, something goes wrong. That's freaking heavenly. I don't even think my bed at home is this comfy. Fire is just a perfect distance. I can actually feel a little bit of the heat coming over here. So I've made up my mind. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the camp chores done like a good boy, and then I'm gonna go out and play. I think that's the balance that's gonna be struck here. I wanna make sure that my apples cook. They're turning into applesauce right now with the skin on and look really good. I'll make sure I got enough heat, but I wanna make sure I got enough fire to last most of the night. I know I'm gonna have to get up in the middle of the night because I'm gonna be cold, and that's okay. But when I get up in the middle of the night and I'm cold, what I wanna do is some work. I do like the saw, but I have noticed that there is a very short stroke on it. I've just put a star shape, all the ends kind of facing in, but just the ends. That way that fire is going to last a long time, and I'll progressively shove those pieces of wood in the fire as the tips burn. It'll make the fire last a long time. There's lots of heat giving off right there. There's a nice bed of coals. I don't need a lot of flame. I'm cooking right now. If it was really cold and snowy and wet, yeah, big fire. But here we can kind of conserve the wood. That's the idea. Conservation. You only got a certain number of calories on your body. There's only a certain number of calories you can procure from your environment, and everything that you consume has a cost. A little red squirrel over there barking at me, but they're not legal to hunt yet. I'm working on my chop license, so I'll have it soon, and then fair game. Get it? Fair game? It's funny. I made myself a little seat here with straw. I'll get my butt wet. Everything's wet here. All the logs, everything. Totally wet. The saying is, every time I try to leave, figure there's a reason to stay here. Like that chicken's, oh, apple just burst. These apples are done. They're hot. They're like, you couldn't even eat them right now. They're so hot. So they're ready. It's just the grouse is actually not cooked at the very, very top. I don't know if you guys can see that. The apples are in the way. The very tip is not cooked. So I'm really strongly contemplating eating right now before I go. Maybe eating by yourself in the woods is eating in the dark by yourself in the woods. I'm not scared of animals or anything. It's just really hard to see what you're doing. and it's done. I don't want to overdo it, so I'm gonna tip it over, and I'm gonna cook the top of it. I got a nice bed of coals down there. It's looking really good. The apples I'm really looking forward to, but I know if I take it off, there's no way I'm gonna be able to eat them. They're gonna be way, way, way too hot. I got my orange on. I was ready to go, but I don't really have a table here. I'm not that bushcrafty. Look at that. Slides right up here. Oh man, that actually looks like it's like perfectly cooked. Smells like grouse. Am I just going to taste like grouse? I'm gonna grab a bite here. Never had grouse before? You are missing out. Oh. It's a touch dry, but I mean, honestly, you ask for a better job than that? I don't think so. I think the inside there is a little bit raw because it's not breaking apart, but that's okay. That's the beauty of like eating where you're cooking. We're basically cooking right in, eating right in the cook space, so we can just throw it back on and cook more. That's how people would have done it. All right, let's try this apple out. You see that? You see that right there? That's a little bit of caramelization popping out. I don't know what these are gonna taste like. Honestly, I don't know. Oh, it smells wonderful. It's browned, which we knew would happen, you know, because it's cooked. Oh man, that's so good. It's warm, not hot. It does really taste like apple pie, tell you what. I mean, it looks kind of wrong, but it smells amazing. All right, now I am gonna finish the rest of this grouse before I go. Oh, that just made me hungry eating. Finish this off. I think we have just enough time to do like a little bit of evening hunt. We might get ourselves to school for breakfast. You might. All right, I got the beanie on. There's no way I'm gonna be hunting hunter orange. Camp's all cleaned up, it's ready to go. I can sleep here for perfectly fine. I got some apples left over. I packed up some apples. I packed up some black walnuts. We're gonna go for a walk because there's no way I'm gonna shoot a black or a gray squirrel in this woods here. They don't like the woods as much. The red squirrels love the woods. The blacks and the grays love open areas. So remember where I found those black walnuts? Perfect place to ambush them. The thing that they don't have over there is apples. So I can bring some apples over there, crush them all up, and that's gonna be a huge scent attractor. I think I could hide pretty decently up in these greens up here, up in that tree pretty quietly, and then hear any squirrels making their way through this hardwoods. That's all we can do. I haven't seen any squirrels all day. Leaves are so noisy here that I'm not even gonna watch for squirrels. I'm just gonna close my eyes and lean up against the tree. My ears are gonna hear everything that's happening around me. I'd be very disappointed if a deer came through here, because I've been hunting deer for a long time. I have not been successful. I don't have anything to shoot a deer with. A 22 is not gonna work. Nor is it legal. The squirrel's in season. The squirrel's what we're after. Let's see what we can make happen. Wow, getting into the last little bit of light here. I haven't heard anything. A few birds, that's it. There's a twig snap back there a couple times. But I don't hear any leaves. So, I don't know. I don't think it's worth staying out here too long. I can't find my way back to my shelter's not gonna be good. Well, that was worth a shot anyway. You always gotta stay ahead of your food. You guys as hunters, you guys know that. You can't just be like, I got some stuff for today, that's good enough. No, the idea is to stock up. So you try to get stuff for the long term. And then you continuously add to it. Well, we're back. I gotta fix you guys a little bit there. How about that? Check out what I found on the way home. But having some pretty intense winds over the last few days, this is actually a squirrel nest. I think it is. I've seen these up in the trees for years and years and years. And I've always been curious about, you know, how they make it, what's inside. Like, how does a squirrel hold this thing together? I mean, I gotta get birds, how birds do it, but I don't really know how squirrels do it. I imagine they just, I mean, the shavings in here is just outstanding. Outstanding craftsmanship to the squirrel. That's kind of the theme for today, and I was really excited to find it. I want to open this guy up, but first I want to chat a little bit. The walnuts are doing well. They're doing good. They're getting hot. We rescued the fire, as you can tell. Lots of coals. It's working perfectly. Love it. But I want to talk. I want to talk a little bit about me. I want to talk a little bit about you guys. I like that you guys are sharing with me. That's awesome. You guys are sending me PMs. You're dropping stuff down. Not so much sharing about yourself, maybe in the comments, but you're definitely PMing me and you're sending me really cool messages. You can get me on Facebook or Instagram. That's all cool. You can hit me down in the comments too, but I don't read comments on older videos. I read comments on the new videos. I can't keep up with them. After the video site goes for a while, it gets too far down, and then it just becomes not as relevant. So if you want to hit me in like the first hour, first day of a video release. I release videos every Friday for sure at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time. Sometimes on a Tuesday video. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep up with the Tuesday videos anymore. It's becoming just, it's too much. Well, I'm refocusing the channel. I'm doing things that I think will resonate more with my audience that I've built up over time. And I think the survival stuff's really hitting it. That's my guess anyway, that's my wager. So that's why I decided to do this Lost Hunter Survival Challenge. So what I want to talk to you guys about is the ASMR videos. There's a good chance that this video is going to end up as an ASMR video somewhere down the line. Reason for that is because I tried to make a go of the channel just being talky talk, English speaking, but I can't make a go of it. If I look up my statistics, 10 out of 10, oftentimes 30 out of 30 with maybe 3, 4, 5 videos mixed in there are talky talk videos. The other 25 are actually ASMR. I know that might be hard to believe, but it's true. The ASMR videos were designed to kind of level the channel out so that I can continue to do these talky videos. I love interacting with you guys. I love talking to you guys. I love sharing with you guys. I want to keep doing those things, but to make it possible, it's really the ASMR that's kind of the glue that's binding everything together. It's an international audience. The videos tend to have bigger legs. YouTube has more people to share it with, and so it tends to, over the long run, maybe it doesn't generate as much revenue. Like, that's not all about the revenue. The reason I make the videos is so I can continue to do the things I love, which is this. So how you can help me is watching the talkie videos all the way through. A huge thing with the algorithm. If you click on it, you watch for 2 minutes, you click away, YouTube thinks it's not a very good video. But if you watch it all the way through and it gets a long watch time, YouTube starts recommending that to other people. Also, if you click on the video right away in the first day or two, that's really helpful. Or if you go back and watch them, and just click on them and watch them, let them play out. You don't have to sit there and watch them if you don't want to, but it's helpful. Even if the ASMR videos, you guys click on it, you watch it, that's really super helpful. There's no better way to help a creator right now than to watch a video from start to finish. And then in a couple more days, if you really want to help them out, click on that one and watch it again. It'll add up. And I want you guys to keep sharing with me your experiences with life, because I mean, that's what it's all about, right? It's about connecting and sharing. And I do like hearing about your successes. I know a lot of you guys out there are struggling, and now is the time we start to talk about it, where we can sit and relax by the fire and have a discussion. So if you guys have something you want to share with me, some of your difficulties, some of your things you're working on, go ahead and leave that down below. And I think that's inspiration for some of you guys out there that might be struggling too. And I struggle too. I mean, I'm not any exception. Sometimes it's hard to get motivated. Sometimes it's hard to just go out and just rough it too. I mean, I don't need to go out and rough it. We have really great lives at home, so it's hard to push myself to come out here and do these things some of the times. But I'm always happy after challenging myself. I always feel a sense of accomplishment, and I feel like I've learned something. I feel like I've developed a skill. So that's why I keep doing it. So the squirrel nest. Uh-oh, I didn't want it to pop open, and now I don't know if we're gonna be able to see too much, but I don't have a light out here. I really don't. So we're gonna see what we see. So I'm gonna have to describe, I guess, what it is. Be kind of cool to see like a squirrel inside there, but I think it's a little bit late for that. It's like a bundle. It's like, it looks like it's a lot of shavings. I've never seen a squirrel carry around like things in their mouth to make these. So I wonder if they like mostly like pick stuff off the tree itself and they just drag it over. But it looks like a lot of like duff. It looks like duff. I wonder if it's just the females that collect the duff. But man, oh man, like it's impressive how much duff is in there. There's dirt, duff, and shavings. I mean, if this is a bird nest, I wouldn't be surprised. But like, look at the stringy stuff, the straw, super neat. And there's, of course, there's a couple leaves mixed in there, but it's all just duff. Like, do they hide? Do you guys know anything about this? Like, if you guys know how squirrels make a nest and what, like, do they crawl inside there and they have a tunnel and they stay warm like that? I mean, hey, a squirrel living out here all winter, that's tough, especially up in a tree. So that's impressive. Sound like a coyote. I might hear some coyotes tonight. I tell you what, this bed is freaking ripping comfortable, man. Like, I'm surprised. Kind of smells like barn in here. You just see the hay. But it's comfy. I love it. Oh, super comfy. It's like the mattress of the forest, I'm telling you. Well, that fire's warm. It's shooting off heat all the way to here. It's gonna work good, really good.